We do that little wave thing so that we can see.
There we go. We are live. Good stuff.
Finally. All right.
Yes.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Whiskey Thursday. What is today? The 12th of December, 12/12. Sweet. We've got a special guest today, so make sure you are sticking around. And don't forget, if you guys are watching live, hashtag live in the comments down below. If you're watching the replay later, hashtag replay down in the comments below. Shayne, why don't you introduce our lovely guest?
Absolutely. I'm super pumped about tonight. This is going to be an exciting show tonight. I think we're going to add a ton of value here, and especially for those that are watching live, because we got some goodies for you at the end of this show. So make sure you stick around. That's right. So tonight with us on Whiskey Thursday, we got Grant Eilertson. I think I got that right. I hope so. And Grant's a special guy, young entrepreneur here. By the age of 21, he had grown multiple six-figure businesses, I believe in the fitness niche, right? And then by in the past couple of years, you've grown multiple 6- and 7-figure business. In fact, the business that you're with right now, you guys will be closing out the year at hopefully about $2.5 million. So congratulations on that. And from my understanding, Grant, you are the sales side of this business. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about sales. And what's really interesting about what you do is that all the sales that you do are over the phone. So I think for agency owners, marketers, and so on that are struggling with their sales, this is going to be one live that you're going to get a ton of value from, because Grant's going to dig into how to position yourself, how to sell, the framework, the strategies, and all that good stuff. And like I said, if you watch until the end here, we've got some goodies for you that Grant's going to share with the group. So we're really, really excited about that stuff. So Grant, welcome to Whiskey Thursday. Thank you so much for taking the time. And I know you've been sick for the past couple of days here. So I really, really appreciate it. Both of us, Matt and I, appreciate you jumping on tonight. So welcome. And everybody, if you're watching live, like Matt said, comment live. Give us some, likes and hearts and so on, and let's get this engagement up so that we can, Grant has a ton of people here that can learn from him. So again, Grant, welcome to Whiskey Thursday, and why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, thank you so much, Shayne, and cheers to you and Matt. Thanks for having me on. It's true. I was sick the past week. Like, it just knocked me to the floor. So I'm drinking green juice here. It's not a crazy holiday cocktail like Matt thought earlier.
That's what I said. Is it a holiday cocktail, or is it a Christmas cocktail, or is it a pond water? So
the group may never know.
We've established, and that maybe that's why you're sick, man. Pond what? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Not enough. You get sick too much, you get sick too.
Right?
Yeah, dude, you covered it pretty well. I'm notoriously bad at like bragging about stuff because I keep my nose to the ground pretty tight. In fact, that's why I don't have much time on my hands. I'm the wholesale side of the business I'm currently in. That's about to cross $2.5 million this year. So I'm really excited about that. And other than that, I guess maybe interesting thing about me, sold all of my belongings in April of this year and have just been traveling full time since. I live out of a nomadic backpack, which I love. Wish I was an affiliate for them, because I think I've sold a few of them, and a suitcase, and that's it. And it's been really fun, man.
Backpack.
Oh man,
they got me with drop your affiliate link. With disclaimer, here it comes. No, I'm just kidding.
I would have had one.
It sounds like he doesn't have it anymore.
It's the sickest thing, I swear. So it's they found me with their Facebook ads, and their targeting was on point. So it's NOMATIC packs, and I have a travel pack, and like I can fit 2 pairs of pants, pair of shorts, pair of shoes, 4 shirts, 4 pairs of underwear, 4 pairs of socks, my laptop, a book, all my toiletries, everything I need in there, and just go. And it's so convenient. So that plus a suitcase, I'm totally set. And yeah, I love it. I know we didn't come to talk about that.
That is wild. I couldn't do it, man. I'd have to leave my go-karts. Your kids. Not.
Yeah, I travel pretty light.
The kids, the wife. You have to leave everything.
Wife, it gets tougher to pack.
Sounds good,
I
don't know.
Oh man. So that's fun, man. And then really, like, as long as I got a laptop, I, just like any of you watching, can create more than a full-time income. As long as you know the secrets and, you know, the strategies behind persuasion, it's the most valuable skill you'll have.
He says so nonchalantly. As long as you know the secrets behind persuasion, this is an easy thing to do.
Yeah, I'll just leave an open loop there for later. We'll get to that around minute 30 or not. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't see any lives. Okay, I see one live. Guys, if you guys are watching live, hashtag live in the comments down below. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments down below. All right,
I think Aline and Pat are the only people watching.
There we go. There we go.
So,
oh, I'm already seeing some people I know. Look at that. Small world.
Love it.
Very fun. So yeah, that's the thing. I sell things. I help people sell things. It's a lot of fun for me because I get to meet new people every day and make a difference.
So do you pay rent somewhere?
Airbnb gets a lot. They get a lot. Airbnbs and Ubers. That's where the majority of my money goes. That and green juice.
And green juice. There you go.
You couldn't tell since I've been sick, but I try and take pretty good care of myself.
Well, I mean, you're walking around all the time with a backpack, so you're doing better than most of us.
There you go. I'm working on it.
Well, listen, we got a few more people here watching here. Lucy's here with us. Shamunga's here with us tonight. Thanks for joining in. Pat's here. Actually, I think you know Pat, right? You met him at Tribe of Buyers, which is pretty awesome. I heard that show was, or that conference was incredible.
Oh, it was epic.
Best ones out there, yeah. So that's great. Hopefully, we'll be able to make the next one. There's another one coming up. I know that Andrew reached out, and he's got one coming up in a few months. So we'll see if we can make it.
Still ironing out dates, but we've sold, I think, 40 tickets out of the 200 so far. Just
That's awesome.
Yeah, the momentum's awesome in this online space, as long as you don't slow down, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Anybody watching that went to Tribe of Buyers aside from Pat? Anybody else here on the live? I know there's a bunch from our private group that went, and a bunch of other marketers inside of the bigger group too, because I've talked to a few people that went to Tribe of Buyers, and everybody I've talked to said it was amazing. And everybody speaks highly of you. So whoever met you, they like you. You made a good impression, Grant. Nobody said the guy's an asshole. So
oh, sweet. I'm doing all right so far, I guess.
That's right. That's right. Well, listen, tell us a little bit about what you were doing before you started doing all this sales stuff. I mean, were you in sales the whole time? Or were you doing something else? And what kind of, got you into to now, selling for a company that's going to hit, $2.5 million this year?
I've always been obsessed with growth, down to the video games I played as a kid, right? It was the ones where you could grow in levels and get new things and
unlocking those weapons skins. I feel you, man. I feel you.
You got me, Matt.
I don't know how that was the other thing. I was not going to bring it up, but this nomadic thing, like, I don't know where I carry my PC for gaming. So that sounds rough.
Yeah, there's that. No, now I play the real life video game, and I don't have the opportunity to play many games these days, but yeah, that was one of the things that I noticed about myself, is I always just wanted to be growing and improving something and have control over that. And so I actually was selling random shit as a kid. Like as an example, I remember in second grade drawing a picture, putting it through a photocopier for 10 cents, 10 cents a copy. I made 5 copies and I sold 4 of those copies for $1 each. So I ended up turning a profit on those.
That's cool.
I think the entrepreneurial.
What were you selling?
Yeah, what were you drawing is what I want to know.
Yeah, hang on. What are we drawing?
Drawings.
It's the weirdest thing. It was literally a car. I couldn't tell you why they wanted to buy it, but you know what? If you just ask enough people, you're going to have someone eventually buy what you have to offer. And that's lesson number 1. If we could just drop it there below, type it out as you learn lessons below to lock it in. Number 1 most important skill that you have as a salesperson is the ability to ask. You got to be able to ask. Most people just don't make sales because they don't ask enough. They don't ask enough in the interaction. They don't ask enough people. So yeah, man, sold pictures of cars that were run through a photocopier machine in second grade. And then I did a few random things. Like in high school, I had a lacrosse stringing business with a friend. Crazy thing. We actually did like coast to coast orders. It blew my mind as a freshman being able to do that. I got in trouble in class because I wasn't paying attention, but I told teacher, hey, I'm making money. Like
What do you want from me?
What do you want from me? And so
this looks good for you if I'm making money. So,
right.
I don't know.
So I've always kind of had that. I went into construction, kind of fell off that path for a little while, but then the first job that I got that was kind of sales oriented was GNC at 18. And so once I started selling supplements and my income was then again directly tied to what I would put in, it reignited that fuse. Mm-hmm. And I ended up running 2 stores at once when I was 18 and set records. I was actually their youngest manager at GNC and set some sales records back. I think it was a Black Friday or something. It's been a little while now. But there's something that just lights you up, being able to see the effort you put in materialize, right? And there's very few other ways you can do that other than being in sales or running a business of your own.
Right.
Right. So it's addicting. That's how I just got down this path. And
so you went from GNC.
Yeah.
To how long were you at GNC?
We want the full story. Okay. So
we're going, man.
So I started with that because I had gotten really into bodybuilding at the time, and I wanted a career that was outside of throwing freight for Albertsons. Because I transitioned into that after doing construction for a little while. And so problem with GNC is even though I could make pretty good money, because at the time, I mean, it's nothing nowadays. I didn't feel like I was having a real impact on people, because I would have the same customers come in month after month and buy their stacks and they'd look the same. And I realized there had to be something more to it. And so I actually partnered up with a personal trainer friend of mine and started an online fitness and nutrition consulting business. And it was wildly successful from day one.
Wow.
Is what I wish I could say. It took about 6 months of losing pretty much all the money that I had, which was not a lot in savings, before I got the balls to actually hire a coach who could show me the right way to do things. And then we experienced some really exponential growth, and we're able to cross the 6-figure mark in the next 6 months. So it was pretty sweet. Didn't love all the components of business, kind of got tired of telling people what to eat and what to do with their body, and wanted to transition into doing some business development so I could have a deeper, like broader impact without necessarily coaching each individual person. Right. I figured, well, if I built a business like this, if I could help other people do that, and each of them changes the lives of 100 people, and I have 100 clients, that's a lot of people. So I actually partnered up with my original coach, and I started doing sales for him, mm-hmm. and helped his business take off. So it was pretty cool because I was able to leverage someone who was already great at what they were doing. I could speak to the experience of having done it myself, mm-hmm. and working in a sales role. Again, direct proportion to the effort that you put in, you're able to create what you want. So did that for a little while, and then got a chance to work with a few of the greats in the industry, like Eli Wild. Worked with a sales agency for a bit. And then when I actually met Andrew, who's who I work with now at Tribe of Buyers, he had something special about him.
You know, we edit the videos and we blur those out at the end.
I figured. It's censored.
Speaking of which, how many people in here are doing your own sales? Let us know down in the comments. Sorry.
Yeah, let's get some.
It better be everyone.
You know, as many questions as we get about outsourcing sales, I don't know if it's gonna be everybody.
And so that's really interesting, because that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So, you know, again, Grant's working with, you know, the company's working with, you're pretty much responsible for getting them up to about $2.5 million this year, which is really cool. The other thing too is all your sales are I mean, you're selling coaching programs, but all of your sales are over the phone. You're selling program. We talked about this before getting on this live here, so I'm okay to share here, but you're selling programs from $1,000 to $60,000 coaching programs over the phone, which is unbelievable. So we're going to talk about that tonight. So I think, Grant, you're going to be able to share some really cool secrets, and there's some specific questions I want to ask you about $60,000 coaching programs, because I got a whole lot of people in the private group that maybe they want to buy my $60,000 coaching program. I'm kidding.
Amen.
But so, you know, and guys, if you're watching live, make sure you stick around here, because Grant's going to share some goodies here at the end of the show. So don't take off anywhere. And of course, if you had any sales specific questions, this is the time to ask, drop them inside the comments. But I want to talk about two things here, because one of the things I can really relate to, I've always been in a sales position. My entire life I've been in a sales position. Just running your own business and selling to customers and talking to customers, always pitching, right? One of the things that I learned early on, you just mentioned this, was that sales are super addictive. Guys, if you haven't gotten your first sale yet, wait till you get your first sale, because it's a rush. At least that's how I feel, right? And it's funny because in my career, there are three specific sales that I ended up closing. One of them, when I was 20 years old, was a $180,000 phone system that purchase order got approved, came off the fax machine, and I just about died when I saw it. The rush from that was amazing. And then another one was a software licensing deal that I sold to Coca-Cola about 10 years ago, and I got a commission check of about $40,000 in 10 minutes of work. It was insane. And so those are two of the big ones. In my current stuff, there was a big deal that I did with a real estate brokerage. But my point is that I ever since that first deal with the phone system, I've been chasing that high of getting more like those types of deals, right? And you're constantly always chasing that. And I think that's what kind of drives us to continue to do these sales, or at least part of it anyways, because it is, it's a lot of fun. And if you can achieve those, it's a pretty big rush, right? Especially if you're helping people out in your case.
Oh yeah, dude, 100%. I'm at the point now where pretty much every sale feels the same, and it's just like, it feels great. Whether it's someone joins like our group growth and monetization blueprint for $997, right? Like someone joins that, I feel just as like stoked for them as I do if someone just joined the year-long mastermind, which obviously costs a lot more, because I know their life's going to change. And that comes from being aligned with a company that actually delivers. There's a lot in the space, I'm sure you guys have seen probably in your space too, that just don't. And it's really unfortunate. And that's actually a huge reason why I'm so passionate about learning how to sell right and effectively.
Yep.
Because look, if you're aligned with a company that actually delivers, or you are a company in and of yourself that actually is going to deliver, and you operate with integrity, then you owe it to save these good people who actually want a solution from investing with the wrong person. Because
Yeah.
I've wasted multiple 5 figures on programs and people that weren't a good fit. I'm gonna say a good fit. Got lessons from them. I learned things, right? But
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, I feel like it's my obligation to support people with making the right choice. And so when they do, I get so lit up. But man, I gotta say, I've never closed that much in a deal. 180,000, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
No kidding.
It was so, the worst part about it is actually we couldn't actually deliver on it. That was the worst. We were a fairly new company. I couldn't get, I know.
No.
So, I mean, this is like one of our early, like one of the first companies I started. I couldn't deliver on it. And so I ended up having a partner. I mean, I found a solution, right? But I had to find a partner to come in and actually deliver on it. I just couldn't get the banks to fund the receivable on it. So anyways, but yeah, I was pretty stoked. My Coca-Cola one was actually the one that I'm most stoked about, because that was such an easy one to do. And just the commission check on that was massive. Plus just, being able to talk to Coca-Cola and, sell them 2,500 licenses of the product was just, I thought was an amazing achievement at the time. Right. So
yep.
That's
oh yeah.
But those two ones are always whenever I'm talking to larger clients and so on, I remember those, and I just remember the high I got from being able to not only talk to the customers, but also, receive the deal and then deliver those deals. So it's definitely a great feeling. The other thing I wanted to talk about just a little bit, and maybe you can, kind of expand a little bit more on it. When you mentioned that, it's so important for people to ask for the business. Can we talk a little bit more
Speaking
about that?
Speaking of asking for the business, guys, let us know, what's your biggest commission check down below? What's your biggest commission check that you've ever got from a single sale, single product, single customer, whatever it is? And yeah, what's your biggest commission or sale? if you're selling a product. If you're selling a house, it doesn't count. You got to go through commission. But what's your biggest commission check or sales?
Come on, time to brag, guys. Time to brag. Let's
Humble
go.
brags. Let's hear them. No biggie.
Well, I mean, Matt, you've got, I mean, although it's not one single sale, you did do over $100,000 in commissions in 30 days on real estate, which is, I think, a pretty huge achievement as well. So congratulations to you, Matt.
Yeah.
But all cold calls, right? Which is pretty
cold
cool.
calls while I was playing video games.
Yeah. So
not joking, man. I'm sitting there, I'm like calling expireds and sniping people from up on the hill in DayZ. It was amazing.
So you
like,
are.
Oh my God. And they're like, what? I'm like, I can't believe you were thinking about listing your house with that other guy. We have to meet.
You're good, man.
So let's talk about the ask, right? And so, what exactly do you mean by that? And maybe you can give us a couple of examples of like, what ends up happening to people, why are they possibly losing out on these deals? And possibly the reason is because they're just not simply asking for it.
Yeah, man. So my objection handling process was distilled in a large part through one of my mentors. But the framework itself is something that Jordan Belfort's been doing for quite a while. It's part of his straight line selling system. So if you went and read The Way of the Wolf, you could find something really similar. But the way it was taught to me was in a much more like framework style. And so what I've come up with is you basically have deflect, realign, expand, and ask. These are the 4 steps to handling any objection. So understand that you're not just asking for the sale one time in the majority of your sales interactions. It's the investment to no longer struggle with pain, to experience pleasure, and ultimately fulfill purpose is just price. Where would you like to go from here? Good framework for actually disclosing the investment of your program or service is the investment to no longer struggle with pain. You're going to input basically input in their language based on the information gathering that you've done throughout this call. So the investment to end or to no longer deal with pain, to experience pleasure, and ultimately fulfill purpose. So the pain they're in, the pleasure that they want to experience, and the big picture purpose for doing all of this in the first place is just price. So you have the 4 Ps. And then you hold space for them to actually process this until there's directional language, which would imply, oh, I'm going to recede back into my fears, and we get to call them forward, or they just say yes. Or they say, well, I would definitely like to do that. There's just this one thing. Great. So this is directional language. That's a lot. This is non-directional language. So we just want to keep holding space for that. But on the topic of asking, because I got a little sidetracked, if you have backward directional language.
Can we, when you say holding space, you're referring to being silent, right?
For lack of a better term, yeah.
Okay.
Being silent. And it's not really a standoff. It's just, I'm going to hold space for you to process what we just disclosed, because ultimately I just distilled down this hour-long conversation about their deepest pain, what they really want, and their big picture purpose in life, and tied it down to this tiny little price by comparison. And so their brain has to process this because we've re-elicited the emotions through that, and now they have this logic that just has to compute. So I'm just going to hold space for them.
Makes sense.
That's what it is.
Well, I think a lot of people sit on the sale there, right?
Totally. So yeah, there's just so much we could talk to. Like, this hour-long segment, we won't be able to get it all out. So there might be an opportunity for people to book a little extra time to get their specific questions answered if they stick to the end. But yeah, most people lose sales because they either don't ask enough or they'll talk themselves out of a sale. I mean, really, you should just be listening the majority of the time and asking good questions and then providing a diagnosis. If you think about it, what your job is to do is just diagnose, prescribe. Doctor doesn't typically give you options. They bang on your knee, look in your ear, like shove something down your throat, and then they say, take this pill. And they'll typically say it in a calm, direct, downward inflected tonality. So you're going to take 3 pills twice a week for the next 3 weeks, and this will be done. Do you have any questions? And they'll hold space for you. Same thing with prescribing a solution when you're selling something. So yeah, totally. That's essentially what I mean. Be silent if that helps. Put the phone on mute. Scream a little bit if you really have to get your energy out. But let them process their shit. Like, so to get
it's
back,
such an awkward. I mean, this is. I'm sure Matt does it too, and I've always been told, like, ask questions, listen, don't talk too much. When you ask a question, shut up. Don't try to fill that void, right? Mm-hmm. It's always an awkward, like, I know at the end of some of like my discovery calls, or especially when like you start talking about the pricing and stuff, and then you stop talking, and then you got that silence. It's almost like the other person's waiting for you to say something, right? But you're waiting for them to actually process this information and respond. All right. So it's always a very awkward thing. And I know that every time I go through that, I'm always like, should I say something? Should I say something? Right? Do I need to fill that void with something else? But yeah, just not talking and letting them. The way you've just said that, letting them actually process it, and then letting them respond. It's definitely the better way to do this.
Yeah, the best way to get someone to speak more is to just not say anything. So when you ask a question and you want them to continue to elaborate, best thing to do, if you feel you need to acknowledge, is or to say absolutely nothing and just let there be space for them to continue to dump. It's really simple. Same thing with once you've disclosed the price, just let them process it. If you're rushing too much through a process and they can feel that, then you break a lot of the rapport and trust that you've worked so hard throughout the conversation to build anyway. So we just want to give them some space right there. They're making their decision. And if you've done your job and you've asked the 6 questions that are just absolutely imperative to get answered during any sales conversation, then you'll be good. And I've got a document that I can share if people want to comment 6 questions below. I'll hook you up with. It's the absolute 6 things that you need to know to be able to close any size deal over the phone. Well, any size at least up to 60,000, because it's what I've done and it's what I've proven through repetition. So.
Okay, so guys, if you want this, so what are you sharing here? So you're sharing the 6 questions that you want. It's funny because it's interesting because Pat just commented, it's the way you say it, Grant, not even the questions you ask. It's your ability to feel trusted instantly. But that kind of reminded me that there are some specific types of questions you want to be asking on your sales calls in order to get them to actually, go through that process of feeling and so on, right? What we just talked about. So guys, if you want these 6 questions, Grant's going to go ahead and share these here. We got Mike King, Robert, Pat wants them, Lucy wants them, and who else? Katie, anybody else?
Jen
Okay.
Muger,
We've got 6 people. I want
them. They're rolling in, and we'll get to it if we get enough people asking for it. But first, I want to finish up that little open loop that we left with asking. Because I gave the rough framework for objection handling, but I just want to give an example for what it looks like, because once you've held the space for someone, if they have backwards directional language, right? Like, it sounds good. I just can't afford that, man. Right? It's moving backwards and we need to ask for the sale again. It's like, how do you do it? So what it looks like is deflect, reassociate or realign, expand, and ask again. And so what I mean by that is typically with an objection that you're going to get, it's just a smokescreen for uncertainty. It's maybe. And so how do we take someone through a process that they believe they've come up with something that is what they want, but it's in alignment with what we want to, right? Like, how do we align our conversation to them saying yes to us? Not convincing, but supporting them with feeling like it's their decision. So what we want to do is we want to deflect what's coming up, because it's in 90% of the time just BS. I can't afford it right now. We're not going to say, well, where are you going to get the money? It's combative. What we want to do is deflect. Oh, totally hear you, Shayne. It's not a problem right now, man. Let me ask you a more important question, though. Does the idea itself even make sense for you? Do you like the idea?
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing is we're pushing that off to the side, because if we address it head on, we grant it validity, which we don't want to do, because if we waste our time addressing that, then we're just going to keep getting more and more and more, because it's worked for every other salesperson in the past for them to just delay decision because they want to feel in control. If you want to be able to influence anybody, they have to feel free, smart, and in control. And if you take that away from them, you lose your ability to influence. So I'm not going to address it head on. I'm not going to try and out logic them or bull them down. I'm going to let them be in control by deflecting first. Dude, not a problem. Totally cool. I mean, just let me ask you a more important question. Does the idea itself even make sense for you? I mean, do you like the idea? Inquisitive tone. So they'll either say no, not at all. And it's like, great, then thank you for your time. Have a great day. Or is there someone that you feel would be a better fit? Who can you connect me with so we can solve their problem? Don't forget to capitalize on a referral opportunity. But if they say, well, yeah, it is, then we want to realign. Well, interesting. What do you like about it? Taking a skeptical tone. So first it's inquisitive. I mean, do you even like the idea? Mm-hmm. And they say, well, yeah. And we go, well, help me understand, man. What do you like about it? We're going to get real inquisitive, skeptical. And they'll tell us right here, and this is where we need to take really great notes. They'll tell us exactly how to sell them. Well, I really like that you actually said, you're going to meet with me once a week, and it sounds like it's pretty supportive. I haven't had a lot of support in this in the past, and I could see that being pretty nice. So he just mentioned support, right, as the main thing throughout this whole conversation that actually mattered to him. Mm-hmm. And so now that we've realigned, now we want to expand. Support, interesting. Huh. Well, it's funny you say that, because we didn't even fully discuss the fact that in addition to the once a week coaching call to make sure you're constantly on track, you're going to have access to me throughout the week to ensure that every single day that you're working with me is a step in the right direction, which means ultimately, and now we're going to ask for the sale again. So long as you show up and you put in the work 6 months from now, Shayne, believe me, if you're even half as successful as the rest of the people we've worked with, the only problem you'll have is we didn't get started sooner. Sound fair enough? So we're going to ask again.
Sign me up.
By infusing certainty, right? Believe me. And this is a tonality thing like Pat was talking about, because it's not just what we say, it's how we say it. Believe me. The only problem you're going to have is we didn't get started sooner. And then I'm going to go calm, caring, total reasonable man, release attachment in my tone. Sound fair enough, man? Just like I'm asking, you're going to ask your wife to pick up a napkin from the kitchen on her way back. It's no big deal, but you still got to ask anyway. So, hey, honey, you mind grabbing me a napkin? Boom. So you're just going to run through that 4-step closing pattern using different words, obviously, each time to essentially handle the majority of objections until you get the exact same objection more than twice in a row, where they're like, no, man, really 100%. Like, I want this. Everything's perfect. Like, it's just, I literally can't afford it. Like, look, my bank account, I just don't have that in there. Mm-hmm. At which point you just ask permission to have an honest, transparent conversation about that objection itself, because you've isolated it through the 4-step process. And now, okay, so everything else off the table, it's just price that's holding you back from being able to move forward with what you need today. Yeah, man, that's it. Okay, so where do we find a win-win? What do you suggest? And then you can actually look into fixing it there. But until you've gone through that process, don't address it head on. So wanted to close that loop.
Payment plan comes in, huh?
Bingo. There we go.
Alternative options.
Financing, downsell if necessary. Make sure they're served, but like most people, they're just going to throw up smoke screens. So support them with overcoming the maybe by infusing certainty around what's most important to them using that really simple process.
Yep.
I'm a really big fan of using really simple frameworks to attack really complex seeming problems so that anyone can do it. Same thing with those 6 questions. I saw probably like 15 more people requesting that. Last call, if you want the 6 questions framework, these 6 questions are responsible for over 2 million in sales in the past 12 months. So if you want it, drop 6 questions below. There's no email sign up crap. It's just a direct doc. You can get access to it. I've seen people literally close multiple 5-figure deals just reading the document and going through the videos attached alone. So don't sleep on that.
Well, and let's talk about that. So you're using this 6 questions to close programs from $997 to $60,000. Now, with the with that, I mean, are you getting people on the phone for the purpose of for the purpose of selling a $997 program, or is that basically a downsell typically?
It's a downsell. We have a sales page that takes care of it, that people can easily access. But if someone is in a position where they're kind of on the fence between that and like our mid-tier program, because our programs are actually designed for people at different stages in business. So if they're like right on the cusp, I tend to want to give them the opportunity to get mentorship so we can like guarantee their success.
So you have, I'm guessing, something around 10, 30, and 60, or do you guys have a lot more than that?
So we actually have, the range right now is 997, 7,500, and 30 and 60.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And it's dependent upon where someone's at in business. So it's really more of a matter of just like, it's going to fit what you're currently generating revenue wise. Because if you can't fit that, that means you need to be in something lower to actually create what would move you up to that tier.
Right.
So if there's question, I'll get on the phone with them because look, even if they end up buying one of the lower tier things, cool, we've established a relationship. Our business works in a way where we end up having clients go from our front end offer all the way up through our year-long mastermind, because we really prioritize relationship and intimacy marketing. And that's something that everyone can stand to benefit from, is really really focusing and prioritizing the relationship with their customers, because you pay a lot to generate a lead on the front end, whether it's money or it's time or it's energy. And so your best buying pool is going to be people that have already bought from you. So that's a big thing for us. Did I answer the question, or did I go on a total tangent?
No, yeah, totally
No,
answered the question. Yep. Because I named prices and you're like, no, it's this price, and this price, which I think I got 3 out of 4. So I'll take it. Like, that's pretty good. I think you still walk away with the car on Price is Right, right?
We're good.
I think you still walk away with a car on Price is Right with 3 out of 4. But what would you do with a car? Like, you can't throw that in a backpack. So
I know,
really,
right?
Really simple question, Grant, is selling the process of selling a $997 product versus your $60,000 coaching program. Is the process the same?
I love this question because I get it all the time. It's the same thing. Same thing. It might take a little bit longer to walk someone through the sales process. Like if they've never heard of us at all, which I've sold a couple $30,000 programs to people that were at that point, who had never even seen us before and just got connected with me through my social media content. So I knew, like, hey, I need to do a little bit more legwork on this because they haven't already gone through our like front end Facebook group that's super valuable. They haven't bought like masterclasses or anything. So I needed to basically proof stack. Other than that, same thing. Price is irrelevant because money is just, it's fake. I mean, literally $1 means a different thing to you, Shayne, than it does to me, than it does to Matt, than it does to John, Jim, or any of the other people watching. Totally depends on our own reality. So never sell with your own wallet and don't buy their excuses. It's a quote I got from one of my old mentors named Howie Fields. He used to work with Jordan Belfort. Never sell with your own wallet and don't buy their excuses. Like, just because $5,000, $10,000 might be a lot to you, if you've never sold anything to anyone before, and you've never it's tough because if you have never invested in yourself at a high level before, you can't really with integrity ask someone to do that with you. So step one is to go invest in yourself so that you can show up with integrity and congruence and ask people to do what you're doing. It's really hard to lead someone where you aren't willing to go yourself. But that being said, ultimately the sales process basically looks the same. As long as you go through those 6 questions, they incite, you'll touch the pain, you'll touch the vision, you'll touch the urgency, the timing, everything. So, and we can walk through a couple of those if you want. The document itself, even if all you ever did was just go through it, you're going to close more deals. It's pretty cool. So this is going to be a money-making live.
Nice. Awesome. Well, listen, last call here. If you want the 6 questions, Grant, how are we going to do this? You're going to reach out to some of these people, or do you want us to reach out to them, or do you want to connect with them?
I wish I had the time.
I know you don't have the time. Okay. Well, at the end of the live, somebody will take care of it. We'll definitely reach out. Grant, if you can share the links with us.
Yeah.
Matt
we might end up
So
just
guys,
dropping it below, or we might have to reach out. We'll see.
So again, guys, if you want the 6 questions, let's engage with the group. Grant, thanks for all the value so far. One of the things that I wanted to definitely touch on tonight, because you and I spoke about this, well, all 3 of us spoke about it just before we got onto this. In our real estate marketing and conversion group, we have a lot of new agents to owners. We know this because we recently did a survey and we asked everybody, like, do you have any clients, where you at in your business, and so on. And to our surprise, we were shocked to find out how many people were starting their new businesses but had no clients. And we also see this inside of our private group where, people buy our course, they struggle for a little while trying to get clients. And so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that and see if you can offer any tips, any suggestions specifically for a new entrepreneur, new agency owner, new marketing, somebody that's starting up their marketing agency, what they can do either to better themselves, and what they can do on their sales calls when they're talking to prospects on how to get a higher close rate.
Totally. So touched on it briefly. First thing is to buy something.
Expand on that.
Sounds so simple because it really is. If you want to sell something to someone, you need to be willing to buy things yourself, without getting super woo-woo and spiritual, because I've been spending a lot of time down here in California where we got the self-realization meditation gardens and all this stuff going on. So without getting too much into that, and let's just look at the Universal Law of Reciprocity. Ultimately, you're gonna get what you give to the world. And if you're unwilling to buy things, you're not going to be able to sell things. One thing I would invite you to do is go buy something, preferably in a similar space as you
Matt
are.
Matt has no problems in buying anything. Matt will buy the coaching program tonight. No problem.
Well, here's the cool thing. I bet you, Matt, are pretty damn good at selling stuff, because those who have in and of themselves a low buying threshold tend to be able to sell well. And that's you'll never have an easier time selling than to a salesperson, because we love to buy shit. I love to
be sold.
Exactly.
We love it because we're like, I know what you're doing and it feels great. Keep going.
That works. Nice.
I want to ask you guys, since you're all the sales guys here, sorry to go off here. And anybody else that's watching, if this has ever happened to you, but how many times have you gone into like a Best Buy or something, you're wanting to buy a TV, but there's nobody around to help you out, and all you need is somebody to come over and tell you this is the best TV, you should buy it? And you would buy it? There's so many times I've walked out of the Best Buy or any type of store like that where I've wanted to buy a computer, a TV, or whatever. Nobody's ever helped me out, and I walk out pissed off because somebody didn't push me to buy something.
Oh yeah, dude, I was literally.
Go ahead.
There's that, but I was gonna say specifically, I was looking for someone because I was in sales, right? I'm still in sales, make good money, didn't know what to do with it. So I'd end up making a bunch more money every month and ended up broke every month. Now I have a group actually called Financial Finessing that helps people keep the money that they make. But until then, I was looking for a financial advisor just to help. And I got on a call with this one lady. I was pretty much ready to buy the first person that made any sense. And she was so bad at sales that even though I could tell the product would probably help, it was a consulting thing. Just because she was so bad at sales, I just was repulsed and didn't want to buy it. Even though I knew the product probably would have helped me. I ended up buying from the next person because she was actually good at sales.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Sometimes you just got to be there.
Yeah. I was at Calvin Klein last week and I like got all this stuff. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, I don't really need this, but I kind of want it. So I'm standing in line. There is no line. There is no cashier. There is nobody there. And I sat there for like 2 minutes and then I just tossed the stuff on the counter and walked out. I was like, screw that. Screw that. You gave me too much time. I'm just like, I don't care. I'm going to go get a pretzel from Aunt Annie's. Forget this place.
So bad. Yeah. So back to the topic of new salespeople. Buy something and then like also recollect back on times that you have bought bigger ticket items and ask yourself like, why? What emotion was I trying to fulfill with this? Because we make buying decisions based on emotion. We'll back them up with logic after the fact because as humans, we just want to be right. It's a natural thing. But we don't make logical buying decisions. There's always an emotional tie. There was a study done where they looked at subjects that didn't have the ability to process emotion. So their brain only worked in a logical sense and they weren't able to actually make decisions. They could rationalize all the reasons why making a decision might be better than the other, but they couldn't actually decide, proving that it's an emotional process. So I'm staying right next to the beach right now. It's on a train line in case you can hear that.
I thought that was Matt doing something.
See, that's what happens when you save $30 on your Airbnb. Next time, get away from the train line. No, I'm just kidding.
This is a fair warning for everyone that thinks like California is the best place in the world. There's basically a train line that just runs down the whole coast. So if you want to be right on the beach, guess what? You pretty much got to be right by the train. So
it's a fair warning, but also like a fair sales point to anybody who wants to jump on a train and travel California.
Hey, that glass half full. I like you, Matt.
It only took an hour. There we go. We're doing well.
There we go. We're crushing it. So that's another one is look back at the emotional outcome you were looking to get because people will buy for emotion. And what was it for you? Was it certainty? Was it uncertainty or variety as Tony Robbins? You can look at Tony Robbins' core human needs. Certainty, uncertainty, love and connection, significance, contribution, growth. What is it? Because if you can help someone, if you can identify what someone's core driver is in the sales interaction based on how they talk, and this comes with practice, sure, but like looking big picture, most people, it's certainty and it's significance. So if you can make someone feel really certain that taking this move with you is going to be positive for their life, more positive than it'll feel to see their bank account have slightly less numbers in it, they'll make the decision. Or if you can make them feel like they're stepping into more significance, like they feel great about themselves for doing it. That's why people buy Ferraris. Right? It'll still get you to the same place as a Honda Accord, but it feels better to show up in a Ferrari.
So I've heard.
So if you just gotta go, if you
have
haven't,
no clue.
So I've heard. Yeah, I've never driven one myself either. I don't have a car. I got no use for it.
You got the backpack.
It's funny because Pat says something that matches exactly what you're talking. He said he literally walked out of a sales center for a $400K new home, going in wanting to buy, and the person was so dumb. I bought a different model from another builder that wasn't even as nice. Signed and gave the deposit on the spot. That's awesome.
Yep.
I buy an emotion, and whether or not I trust the person, that's it. My bank account is yours if you can do that. Oh man, Pat, put your number down below.
Oh, I love Pat. Yeah, so those are the big ones, and then just come armed with the right questions to ask. You could go look up sales scripts online and find 100+ different iterations of what the perfect sales script is. But what are they doing? They're just essentially a talk track designed to get the important things answered. And a real key distinction that we need to make is that it's not about you hearing the answers. It's about your prospect hearing themselves say the answers. Really, really simple thing, because if a good adage to live by is, if I say it, you doubt it. If you say it, you own it. So that's why it's not about me telling you I'm the best fit to solve your problem. It's not about me telling you the pain that you're going to be in if you don't solve this. It's about me asking, Matt, just curious, why do you think we're the best fit to solve this problem? Matt, what, assuming nothing changes, I mean, where's your life going to be 6 years from now?
Yep.
It's not about me saying, dude, if you keep doing this, you're screwed 6 years from now. Because you can say, no, I don't think so. But if I ask you, assuming you go down the same path, nothing changes, and you continue making the same decisions that have brought you to this point today, do you honestly see this getting better or worse?
Well, and that's a magician's choice question, which is one of my favorite things about it. I mean, people don't call it magician's choice, but that's what it freaking is.
It
magician's
is.
choice. You know, it's like when I say, which hand do you want? The one with the mark, or which hand do you want? The right or the left? And they say the right. And you're like, awesome. And you open the left to show that there's nothing there. Or you open the right because they chose the right. Like, you do it either way, but at the end of the day, they get exactly where you wanted them to go.
Fancy. Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Just saying.
I love it. I don't know, man. Like, the questions I even just gave you are a little bit more advanced than you even have to be. You could really read off those questions that I gave that are so simple. It's so, why is this important to you? Why now? What do you really want? So what's broken? Where are you stuck? Why now? Why do you think I'm the right person to solve this? These are really basic questions, but if you just ask them inside of a context that you've established trust and rapport, you're going to have them say all the things they need to hear themselves to feel properly diagnosed. Because if they feel properly diagnosed, then in your prescription, you plug in what they've said. So you're using their words. Then they're going to trust it.
Well, and it's you're listening to everything, right? You're listening to everything. They're feeling heard. They're feeling understood. They're feeling acknowledgement. You know, they're feeling all that. It's like if you went into a doctor's office and he just looked at you and went, strep throat. And you're like, I'm not taking that medicine. You didn't even check me out. You don't know that's right. You know? That's awesome.
So true.
I just want to I want to touch on something too, which you just said, which is actually really interesting. You ask these questions after you've built rapport. Can we talk about that a little bit? And can we talk about a little bit about how do you build? So a lot of times, you know, the agency owners and you know, marketers, we're doing cold calls, or we're hopping on a call with somebody that we've never spoke to before, people that don't know who you are, and you need to build some rapport in order to be able to ask those questions so that your prospects are actually sharing or are comfortable enough to share, you know, these hard answers. Because these aren't easy things. Like, some of the questions, I mean, they seem simple, but you can get into, like, you want them to you know, start talking about things that they may not be comfortable talking about with strangers, right? So what do we need to do in order to build rapport, in order to get to that point to be able to ask these types of questions? Like, some of the questions I ask on some of my discovery calls is like, well, okay, you know, like, I ask people, like, how much do you make? You know, what are your marketing budgets? You know, like, we go through all of these questions, but they're not, like, we do a lot of work on the front end to build rapport in order for us to be able to get to that point to start asking those types of questions.
Totally. So this here is actually two questions, basically. I know it's phrased as one, but there's two important distinctions. you're going to be in varying stages of rapport throughout the conversation because it's not the most important thing, not quite. Being able to demonstrate authority is number one. And an example to kind of put this in perspective for people is like, if you got a broken bone and you go into a surgeon, you don't care what his favorite football team is. You want to know that he can fix the bone because you're in pain and you know it, and he can fix that. So authority is going to be more important than rapport. But the biggest thing with rapport is it's not about going off to Pluto and getting lost talking about some random shit that has nothing to do with what you're actually selling. In fact, one of the best ways to build rapport is to come across as someone who is sharp, who cares, and who is listening. Those are the biggest things. And just using their language. So drop into their world. There's an old frame, what is it, pace, lead. I don't know that people like really get that. It's like when someone says pace, step into their world. Let them set the frame essentially for like how you're going to communicate. So if I'm talking to someone from New York who is very fast paced, to the point, punchy, I'm going to actually step up my communication to be more in line with how they're communicating versus someone that's maybe from Alabama who is a little bit slower and wants to talk a little more like this. I'm literally going to mimic some of their ways of speaking at the start so that they feel like they're talking with someone that is similar to them, because people like people who are like them or like who they want to be. So rapport is super simple. We actually don't need to spend a lot of time, effort, and energy on building it. The biggest thing is actually identifying the problem. So if I'm going to talk with someone, because I don't do a whole lot of cold calling. I did it for a little bit with fitness coaching, and it was kind of hit or miss, worked all right. But one of the best questions you can ask if someone submitted a form, or maybe they're on an email list, they've opted in somewhere in any way, shape, or form to indicate their situation. A question like, hey, Shayne, you filled out a survey on, or hey, Shayne, I'm calling because I had a couple quick minutes on my schedule and you filled out a form a few months ago on my website. Have you found a solution to that leads problem in your business, or are you still looking? Super simple. I'm going to re-elicit a problem. Have you found a solution to the problem, or are you still looking? To imply like, of course you'd still be looking if you hadn't found a solution. Something as simple as that is how I'll just dive into a conversation. But then you mentioned like almost getting permission to ask some of those deeper questions and getting compliance so someone will answer them authentically and not just yes you through. And there's two things. One is actually getting a no in the conversation early so that someone feels they have permission to do this. And a great book that actually goes into some of these things is Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. We've all had the telemarketing call where someone, gets on, and it's Chris gives an example. Actually, I can remember it now that I mentioned that. Someone that gets on like, hey, you like drinking clean water, right? Well, yeah, of course I do. Like, he's going to force you into a line of questioning on yes, assuming that the more micro commitments, the more yeses I get, the easier it's going to be to close by the end. But every fiber you're being emotionally is like, fuck this guy. I don't want to be saying yes to this, but there's no other logical choice. I feel like I'm trapped. If you can give them the opportunity to feel in control with a no question, then you're actually going to create a space where they feel safe enough to answer authentically. So it's more a matter of like that question was, hey, I don't want to assume anything, man. This is just a courtesy call. I don't want to assume anything. Have you found a solution to your marketing problem, or are you still looking? Well, no, I haven't found a solution yet, actually. Oh, cool. Well, I have a few minutes on my schedule here. Is that something you'd like to dive into? We might be able to solve that really quickly. Yeah, please do. So now I have permission. It's their want and need to move into it. So now I'm going to pre-frame. So I've just built some rapport there. I'm going to pre-frame. I would say, cool. Well, in order for us to make the best use of our time and actually come up with an actionable solution, I'm going to have to ask you some questions that might be a little uncomfortable, kind of dig into your business a little bit and I'm going to need authentic answers in order to point you in the right direction. Can I ask that you answer my questions with full transparency? You need to get some permission and buy-in. Put together some sort of pre-framing that you're going to use as more of a template for your offer so that it flows smoothly. I'm just coming up with something off the spot there. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions to see if or how I might be able to support you. If I can, I'll let you know. If I can't, I'll point you in another direction. Is it cool if I just dive in? You want to get the permission to do this, but set the context for how they're going to be able to get what they want. So again, we've gone through, we said, hey, have you found a solution to the problem, or are you still looking? I'm still looking. Well, cool. We might be able to solve that pretty quickly here. Not sure, but I have a few minutes on my hands. Do you want to dive in and see if we might be able to? Yeah, I'd really like that. Okay, cool. In order for us to actually figure out if there's a solution for you, I'm going to need some more information about your business. It'll get a little nitty gritty, but that's just what I'm going to need to be able to give you an accurate diagnosis. I don't want to give you a hammer if what you need is a screwdriver. So is it cool if I just dive in and ask you a bunch of questions rapid fire? Yeah, that's cool. All right. And can I count on you to be honest with me? Otherwise, I really can't help you. It wouldn't be a good use of our time. Nope, I'll help. Totally. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Great. Let's dive in. First question, where are you at revenue-wise for this year? I'm going to get money out of the way first or something. And then, so we'll just dive right on in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
How much do you weigh? What are you wearing?
Boxes and briefs. Come on, let's get this tough stuff out of the way.
Yeah, no, that was good. That's good. That's great.
Guys, the comments are going silent. Come on. I know you guys are so intrigued. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
But if you're still here, #live if you're watching the replay.
Well, Grant, before we get into a few more little things here before we let you go, I know we've already been on for about an hour right now, and really appreciate your time. And guys, if you have any questions, this is the time to ask. I think Pat's got a question here really quickly. Matt's going to dig into that. But Grant, why don't we go ahead and, because we've got a ton of people here that there was a bunch more comments here coming in for the 6 questions. Why don't we go ahead and drop a link for people inside the live here. Stick around though, because we got something else for you guys. Don't go anywhere. If you want to just fire over that link to me, and I can throw that up into the
Don't
live.
pin it though. They got to watch this far if they want it.
Okay. Yeah, I won't pin it.
Don't like it, guys. Don't like the link. We don't want it popping up in the.
I just typed it. Should I hit return? Should I do it?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Do we want to do it? I don't know.
There
We
you
got
go.
to see a heart avalanche first. Can
Heart
you do it for me?
avalanche.
Can I count on you? Give me a heart avalanche. Hit that heart button. I hate the thumb. The thumb. Have you ever gotten a thumb in Messenger? Someone asks you a question, you respond to it, and they give you a thumb. I'm just like, hey, fuck you, buddy. Like, for some reason, it feels disrespectful.
I did that today to you, Grant.
Not in that context. Not in that context. There are certain contexts, but like a heart is always.
You're like, I'm sick. I can't talk to you. And I was like, thumbs up.
Trust it. I didn't feel that way for you, but so it's on the same lines. Like, I don't flip people off if I'm driving, because I'll drive sometimes. I'll do Turo. You can rent cars. Yeah. I don't flip people off if I get cut off. I give them a thumbs down, because I like flipping them off. It's aggravation. That it's just, hey, fuck you, buddy. But thumbs down, it's like, hey, I'm disappointed in you.
It's like, whoa, did I make a poor decision? What just happened? I haven't got a thumbs down in like years since we did diving contests at the local community pool.
I think that ruined my day, man. I'd be thinking about that all day long.
Oh man, I'd be like, what? That would be
fun.
So they gave us a heart avalanche. I appreciate you guys.
Sure did. We got a bunch of, we got a bunch of comments and questions.
We even got a sad face for that whole idea of the thumbs down, man. Like, whoa, we're gonna have to end on a high note. We can't end on this whole. I
dare one of you guys to give me an angry face. I want to see one angry face on there. No more, no less. Just one angry face. Let's get some.
Only to somebody who hasn't already made their reaction.
Yeah,
John. It looks like John's going to use the thumb down. So it's fun. That's awesome. So Grant, thank you. So Grant went ahead and posted the 6 questions that we spoke about earlier today. Thanks for sharing that. I think,
totally.
I think that's going to be really useful for a lot of people. I'm definitely going to go out and scan those off the live after this.
Right.
So yeah, and I think we got a couple questions here, Matt.
Oh, it's just a sales page. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. It's a document.
It's our affiliate link.
It's what I call a dirty doc. This is Google Docs right there.
There you go.
I love it.
Matt, you want to go through some of these questions and comments
Let's do it.
here? Yeah.
We got Pat is.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So, okay, when you just opened your online fitness company, how do you handle the objection of testimonials, especially if you have none or very few clients? So people are asking for testimonials. You don't have them to give, or, well, let's go with you don't have any, because if you have a few, that's better than none, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's go with you don't have any testimonials and people are asking for them.
Yeah. So, well, what I did actually was in great shape, and I posted pictures of myself and I used myself as a case study.
Perfect. So that's a bad example.
Yeah.
No,
But
there's the testimonial, right? Social proof. Yeah.
Yeah. You should be
works. and then, but if anybody, like, go check out Grant's pictures, because you're still posting that shit and you're ripped, dude. I don't know what you do.
He might go back to fitness coaching or something. He keeps posting this.
Are you running around?
Really
like from that's what you're doing, right? You're running to each of your Airbnbs with your knapsack. That's like keeping.
Yeah, and I'm pressing it overhead on the way, like.
It's a nomadic pack. It's not a knapsack. It's a nomadic pack.
Exactly.
Canadian.
Nomadic knapsack pack. So, like, you should be a walking billboard for your business. If you want to do.
Oh, we got the angry face. Just saying.
Oh, we're crushing it. First thing is you should always be a billboard for your business, right? Like if it's a service, for example, so if it's a product, wear your product, take pictures with it. If it's a service, you should exemplify the results. If it's business coaching, you should be able to say like, hey, look at my Stripe account. Like that's why Andrew in our public group will post pictures of the Stripe account. Mm-hmm. You know, you could see like a few million in sales. It's like, oh, okay, it's legit. I would post pictures of myself without a shirt on. Hey, this guy's worked out before. He knows how to do it. She should be a billboard for your services. Two, if you're getting people like asking for testimonials in your sales process, then you haven't built up enough credibility on the front end, which you can do in other ways. But the biggest thing that I would say is like, if you want to just get testimonials super quick, do a couple free consults with people and just ask for some feedback. Like someone that just did this really well, that comes to the top of my mind is a guy named Frank Simmerhansel, which I'm going to actually post his name because there's no way anyone would be able to. I honestly don't know how to spell it. Cimrhanzel.
Simmer. Really?
So Frank.
I didn't think we were going there.
Eric Cimrhanzel. So he's putting out a brand new product called the Radiant Presence Method Masterclass. Really cool. He actually took me through a session. It took about 10 minutes. And after doing it, I felt like I had meditated for like 2 hours, had drank a Red Bull, and was just on top of the world. Crystal clear, energized. It was awesome. And it was just a little session he did. And I thought, wow, that's pretty sweet. So the cool thing that he was doing actually was booking free sessions. Only took him 20 minutes. And what he would do is he would go through the session with you and then ask your experience at the end. So how did you feel before our session? How do you feel now? What do you think you could accomplish with how you feel now? Great. And he did this on Zoom and recorded it and said, do I have permission to share that? Awesome. And he did 10 of them, or maybe 12. Now he's got 12 testimonials.
Boom.
He just crushed his marketing material. So I dropped his name in the chat below, just like copy that into the search bar and look on his profile because he just dropped a testimonial basically per day. And so you look at his profile and it was like, oh my God, everybody loves this. And it was literally just a week-long testimonial campaign. Anyone can do it. So if you need to crank out testimonials real quick, put up a post, something along the lines of, like call out the problem. Like you should know how to do some copywriting. I'm not the best at it, but call out the problem. You ever struggle with blank? Well, you're not alone. A lot of people struggle with blank, but I have a solution. And I have 3 spots open on my calendar this week to gift a free session to 3 lucky people. I'm going to choose them at random for whoever comments hashtag whatever the hell you want below, and go from there. And just pick a few people, probably 10. Just reach out to them. Hey, I want to give you a session. Go through, provide them some sort of value with what you do. Some sort of mind reframe, give them some sort of feeling of value, and just ask for feedback. Like, just, this is how Andrew did it at the start too. Mm-hmm. Just to get something out there, some sort of person saying your name delivered some sort of result. So you can give the impression that you're doing something. Then get your first couple clients, make sure you deliver. And then you got testimonials. So hopefully that helps. Pat, I don't think you personally need that.
He's not
though.
starting no fitness business.
Pat's crushing it.
You sold him on the fitness business idea, man.
Yeah, he's like, oh, maybe I should do that too. But for everyone else watching, really easy.
I want to share. Actually, I want
testimonials.
And for anybody watching too, I want to share a little hack that we have inside of the academy. And Grant, you can touch on this as well. But so one of the things that it's the exact same thing that we talk about. It's like, okay, well, what happens if I don't have any real estate agents? I bought this course and I want to start delivering results, but I have no clients, right? And I mean, it's really, really simple to go out there, do, like you said, do a couple free sessions, do a couple free trials, whatever it takes, right, to be able to get those testimonials, because they're gold. And that's what's going to start accelerating your sales, being able to show your results and have that experience, that confidence that now you can actually deliver, right? So one of the hacks that we have, or that's not really a hack, but one of the things that I've noticed, like I still do my free trial posts every so often. What it does is it generates business. It's insane. Like, people, you get tons of comments on these, and then you just start I'm only picking one person that I'm going to work with. But I get, 20, 25 responses, and it's like, okay, well, can we book a call, and let's have a chat tomorrow. Let's have, I'll book 5, 6, 7 calls. And it's amazing how many people don't really care about the free stuff. They just want a solution to that problem.
Totally.
And so there's other opportunities in that, and being able to sign up clients, even if they're paid trials, or even like they're willing to pay you $500 or $1,000, whatever it is, right? So we always tell people, like, don't discount the fact that the trials actually work, or these free sessions actually work. It allows you to build more social proof. It allows you to get more testimonials. It allows you to get the results that you need in order to get those paying clients, right? I mean, you talk about Andrew posting, hey, we're just about to hit $2 million in revenue this year. He didn't start there. Like, he had to go through all those free trials and free coaching programs and all that other stuff, right? Like, you gotta, but one of the things I really like is when we do these posts is all the other business that comes out of it. It's insane. Yep. I still run these, the same type of post, right, where it's like, hey, I'll do half-hour free coaching for whatever, and then I can only do it for one person, but you end up talking to a lot more people. Mm-hmm.
Funny, I just want to touch on it real quick, because you said people get on for a free consult, but all they really care about is their problem being solved, and they're willing to pay. I paid Frank after that session, even though all he was doing was farming testimonials. I was like, hey, I'm going to prepay for whatever program you put out. And I Venmo'd him.
Yeah.
I like what you're doing. Put something together. Here you go. Here's some money. You never know when you're going to come across that person.
Yeah.
Yep. So let's jump into these questions real quick before we go into anything else. Forrest says, what's your closing questions? Do you say, here are the next steps, or do you position it so they ask what the next steps are?
Where would you like to go from here? That's it.
Where would you like to go from here? So basically, once you get through the objections, you cover them. Or do you do this before you get to the objection?
Oh, so
like step forward.
Yeah. So it's tough when you say like closing questions. Once I've gone through and I've actually done a presentation before I do a pitch, presentation is really, so how you said problem? Well, what we do for that is solution. And for you, that means benefit. Mm-hmm. So how you said you were struggling with leads. Because of that, you can't predict where your next client's going to come from. And so ultimately you can't project your revenue out the next year. So you feel like you're constantly hustling. Well, what we do is we systematize your lead gen so that you can have a constant stream of predictable income, which allows you to plan out all the way to next year and finally feel the comfort and security that you're looking for.
Yep.
Does that make sense? So I'm going to say, like, you know how you said problem? Well, what we do is solution. For you, that means benefit. And notice the solution where I'm not going in depth and talking about, so we're going to set up your ad campaigns and make sure it's optimized so your click-through rate is, no one gives a fuck. They want to know, what does it mean to me?
Yep.
So we're going to set up an automated lead delivery service so that you're able to consistently attract high-paying clients on demand and project your revenues out all the way to next year to finally make strategic business decisions that are going to allow you to grow and expand, building a team to leverage your time so you can spend it with your family. Does that make sense?
Boom.
It's benefit stacking. So once I've gone through that, I'll say, all right, that's what we do. Where would you like to go from here? And I'm not going to go into a pitch unless they ask, like, well, that sounds great. How do we move forward? Cool. Well, it's simple. The investment to eliminate the pain, experience the pleasure, and ultimately fulfill the purpose is just price. Say, cool. They're either going to move forward. All right, let's get it done. How do we go for that? Well, we can get it done one of two simple ways. Would you prefer Visa or MasterCard? Or they'll say something like, well, man, I just don't think I can afford it. Cool, not a problem, man. Let me ask you a question. I mean, does the idea itself even make sense? And do you feel like what we talked about today would be a fit for you, price aside? Well, yeah. Well, why do you say that? What is it that you like about it? Cool. And then we'll go into that. And so ultimately, like, that's my question. If I have one, it's really just, so what do you want to do? Because I always want them to feel free, smart, and in control, but have set up the conversation so that it's going to move towards a unified goal, which is the problem being solved and dollars exchanging hands.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that's not too simplified. Like, those frameworks right there, you know how you said problem? Well, what we do is solution. For you, that means benefit. Benefit, 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 benefit. That's how you do a presentation. A pitch is re-eliciting the pain, the pleasure they want, the purpose, and disclosing the price. Cool. Your objection handling is really as simple as deflecting, realigning, expanding, and then asking again. See, I'm a big fan of frameworks because it's not about memorizing talk tracks. It's understanding the principles of persuasion so you can input whatever words fit your style. Mm-hmm. So it's authentic to you and you can be in congruence with how you communicate. It doesn't feel forced like you're reading a script, but you still hit the key points that actually allow you to influence someone.
Makes sense. Oh, shoot, John, I wish I knew what this was in reference to. He says, what is the process that you mentioned? Deflect, then what?
Oh, yeah. I just said it. Deflect, realign, expand, ask again.
Okay. Boom. There we go, John. I guess I shouldn't do the, because I didn't really.
We can all do it.
All right. Oh, man.
We got him. We got Shayne.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers. All right. So we're coming up on that hour and a half mark, Shayne. What do we got?
That's it. No more questions.
Wrap it. I say, is this where we wrap it? I don't. You know me. I go 3 hours.
Let's talk about a little bit because Grant, there was a couple things you're going to offer here for people that watch all the way to the end, which is awesome. We've already dropped the 6 questions, which I think are going to be really helpful to the people that, at least the people that asked for it, and they're going to go out and read it and do more sales calls. But Grant, we talked a little bit about offering something a little bit more to a limited amount of people here that are still watching. Do you want to go ahead and cover that here?
Yeah, I see how many people are watching and commenting, so I want to make sure I'm like transparent. I actually don't have a lot of spots in my calendar with everything that's going on. But I will open, we could do 3 spots, 15 minutes. If there are questions that went unanswered here, you want to learn more about, building an organic empire. Like, we've built a 7-figure business without ever running an ad. We'll learn how to scale with systems, processes, and a team, or crush it with a Facebook group. I'll open up my spot for 15 minutes. We can have a quick chat. Just comment like Grant my face below, and Shayne and I will figure out who gets those spots below. I wish I had time to chat with everybody. You can always go through our process and submit an application if you want to work with us. But like these spots, I just want to be fairly value add. If you have questions that went unanswered, I'd come back and respond to all the comments if I could, but I do a lot of these, so I really can't.
Yeah, you're a busy guy, so we really appreciate your time tonight. So guys, if you want, Grant's offering a 15-minute, we calling these strategy sessions. If you're looking, we weren't able to answer all the questions tonight. In fact, there was a lot of other stuff that we actually wanted to talk to you about, building up a sales team, things like that. We just didn't get a chance to do that tonight. But if you're going to go ahead, offer up 3 spots, 3 strategy calls here, so that if anybody that's watching didn't get their answer, their questions answered, you're going to be happy to do that one-on-one with 3 people here. So guys, if so, what is it? Grant my face?
Yeah, try to come up with something. Yeah, just say
grant my face. It's all one word too, right, guys? Don't mess this up. It's grant my face. # grant my face. It's all one word. I just see some people that forced here. Grant space my space face below.
Grant my face below? That's even weirder.
Wow, he crushed it. You got it exactly.
Really strange here, but yeah. So we got a few people here. What we'll do is we're gonna go ahead. Matt and I go through the comments here, guys, and we'll pick 3 people. Grant, we'll send you over that information. You're gonna go ahead and connect with those people. And again, this is for a 15-minute free strategy call here to basically ask any questions they want. Pick your brain. Again, Grant has a company you're currently working with. You're selling coaching programs from $1,000 to $60,000, which is pretty amazing. You guys are on track to do $2.5 million. So guys, I think this is a great opportunity for anybody who just wants to ask a couple quick questions and pick Grant's brain on this. Again, comment Grant my
Hashtag Grant my face. Hashtag Grant my face. No emojis. I see you got an emoji in there. See, when we go to hashtag Grant my face, we're not going to see that. So make sure it's hashtag Grant my face, just like the other guys above you had written. That's how you do it. We do have one more question. Let's grab this question real quick, and then we'll call it good for the night. Cheyenne, I hope I said that right, says, how about the objection that they've been burned before, very bad, and they want to do a trial to test the leads? So this would be an agency related question.
Yeah, so this is one of those things where you're going to be in a jaded market now if you're doing coaching and you're doing agency stuff. And I say jaded because you've had the experience now of people. These aren't brand new people. Most people you talk with, you're not going to be the first person ever to say, I can get you leads. Mm-hmm. I don't do free trials of stuff. So, and here's the thing. I want to step back one sec and actually look at how they say that. Because if someone shifts blame completely onto another party, I typically won't work with them. If there's no personal responsibility indicated, if they aren't saying, you know what, didn't make the best decision, and I learned a lot about now what I need to look for in a good agency. They're saying, yeah, I worked with a total asshole who completely burned me and the leads were crap and they disappeared. I probably don't want to work with them just because it's indicative of how they're actually going to show up, because how it starts is how it finishes. And if I cater to them, I say, oh, poor baby, I'm so sorry they screwed you over. I'll take care of you. And I come in as a hero, they're going to stay victim. And this is energetics. There are some really cool people that can teach this. If you show up constantly in hero energy, you're going to hold space for people to be in victim energy, which is ultimately going to drain your cup all the way down to the point at which you get resentful. When you get resentful, you stop being the hero. And when a victim loses their hero, they become a villain who wants to break you apart. And so then they're just going to go trash your name to the next person.
That's really interesting.
It's weird how it works, but it totally does. So if someone shows up that way, I won't work with them. I'll say, wow, that sounds like a bummer, man. I hope you find someone that's a good fit. It doesn't feel like culturally it's going to be a good fit with us, though. It's going to save you a lot of time, energy, and money. But if it's someone that's like, man, I've made a couple bad decisions in the past. I didn't vet them enough. And so now I'm feeling kind of concerned because I've learned that There's a lot of people out there that don't really deliver, and so I need to be more careful about my decision-making process. Then we want to hear them. Man, I totally hear you. In fact, I've been in your shoes before, and I felt a lot of the same ways. So let's have an honest conversation, man. Like, what were some of the red flags that might have come up on the front end that maybe you ignored? What is it? How are you going to know? Here's one of my favorite questions. How are you going to know when you found the right fit? How are you going to know when you found the right agency for you? Mm-hmm. So we know exactly what they're looking for. So the biggest thing with these people is it's not about making concessions. What they really want is certainty. The solution they've come up with to get certainty is for them to get something for free and see if it works, and then they'll give you money. And we want to come up with an alternative solution that's actually a win-win. Like, hey, I can completely understand where you're coming from. And it would totally be logical to assume that if I were in the same position, I'd probably feel pretty burned and bummed out about that too. I'd probably be looking for someone to give me a handout just to prove to me that they were someone different. Now, to be fully honest and transparent with you, I run a business. We have successful clients, and we've gotten to this point because we deliver. Because of that, I can't just give free trials. And so what I am open to looking at is a win-win, so we can ensure you feel supported, you get exactly what you're looking for, and my business can continue to grow and serve more awesome people like you. So what's the most important thing for you to know, for you to feel like it's going to be the right fit for you, is how I would shift the dynamic of the conversation. Because really, like, once this person feels fully seen, heard, understood, and can trust that you're an authentic, integrous person, then they'll be more willing to move forward with you. This could be a 2-part sale where you actually delay decision. You say, hey, I can feel you've been burned in the past. And because you were probably burned, I'm just going to assume in a sales process where someone forced you into making an on-the-spot decision, I want to create a context where you can have space to feel you're making a good decision. Is it okay with you if I actually send you a page that has some testimonials from people that have worked closely with us, so you can get an opinion outside of mine? Like, I'll delay a decision in certain circumstances like that if they've been badly burned before, because no one else is going to do that for them. Like, they're total assholes, but I'll take care of you. Like, you got to put down a deposit right now or the price is going to double. You're going to elicit the same emotions that are tied to their experience. So we don't want to elicit any of those same emotions. Yeah. So we want to shift that. Totally hear you. I can imagine I'd feel very similar in your position. In fact, I don't even want you to make a decision today, because I can feel there's still a lot of charge around this for you, and decisions made from a place of, anger or fear or uncertainty don't typically end up serving me in my life, and I could probably see they won't serve you long term either. Is it okay with you if I send you some resources you can have a look over to help you with making a good decision? If they say yes, then I'll send them those things and say, awesome, I'm going to go ahead and book a time with you now so that we can follow up and I can answer any questions that come up in the time being. No pressure for you. I just want you to make a good decision. But I also know that my schedule is really busy. Things will fall through the cracks. If I don't get you on my calendar now, it probably won't happen. And I wouldn't want to see you totally fall off the radar. Is it cool if we pick a time right now before we get off the call? Awesome. So lock it down, send them the resource, confirm. So Shayne, when that voice in your head comes up that that says, you know what, I'll text Grant that I just can't make it. What are you going to do instead? Well, I'm going to show up. Okay, I can count on you then. You will show up in integrity at the time that we've chosen, whether or not you want to move forward, so we can have a talk about it.
Oh, snap. Calling on the integrity. Look at
Great.
that. Talk about a guilty confirmation.
And you can be as direct or not as you want, but we want to get some sort of confirmation. Boom. Makes sense. That's the thing. Don't offer a free trial. Don't diminish the value of your service, because they're not going to want to work with someone who is low value. Now We could talk about this for a long time. So I don't
Yeah,
wanna-
which I mean, the trial has its place. Like again, when you're first starting out, you're trying to get those testimonials, or if you're selling puppies. If you're selling puppies, let them take them home and try them out. They will.
Oh man, that's a killer.
Right?
The puppy dog clothes.
All right. Well, listen, let's go ahead and wrap this up again. Two things here. If Grant, you want to throw up the link again inside for the 6 questions. So Grant offered up 6 questions. You want
Hey, just
again
pin
6?
it.
What?
Just pin it.
Just I'd have to post it. And I don't feel like posting. Grant's going to drop it again. So if you want 6 questions,
There you go.
they need to go through during your sales calls. Grant's throwing those up. There's the link. And the other thing too is Grant's offering because we haven't been able to go through everything. We've been on for about an hour and a half. If you're just joining us now, we've been on since about 8:10, 8:15. And Grant's got to go here. Thanks a lot. We're only supposed to be on for about an hour or so, but Grant has gone ahead and offered to provide 3 people with 15-minute strategy sessions to cover any additional questions that you might have about sales, about growing groups, about pretty much everything around sales and acquiring more customers, right? So this is an opportunity for you to go ahead and pick Grant's brain. And what was it again that we have the hashtag Grant my face? If you want
Hashtag
a
Grant
free
my face.
strategy session.
Grant my face.
Oh, and also, if you guys made it this long, you watched the whole stinking thing. Hashtag Trooper down in the comments below.
I thought we
Let us know
changed
you're
that
stuck
last
with
week.
us.
No, I thought we changed
Oh,
that.
no, you're right.
Yeah,
Something
we
else
changed
stuck.
it. We changed
Cheryl
it.
came
Yeah.
up with it, right?
I don't remember what it was.
Doggone it. Go watch the last one and come up with the comment that was at the end of that one.
Hashtag.
Use that.
I can't
And
remember
you're
what that
a real
was.
hashtag trooper.
Hashtag Trooper. That's last year, right? I mean,
That
this
was
is our
last
new. Yeah. I can't remember what those was. Anyways, yeah. If you've been
Hashtag
watching,
dedicated.
what is it? Oh,
Hashtag
hashtag
dedicated.
dedicated. That's
There we
right.
go.
That's right.
Thank
That's
you,
the
Shayne.
new thing. So,
Like it.
guys, if you watch the entire time and you're still here with us, hashtag dedicated. Just let us know that you've been here. And with that, Coach Grant, thank you so much for all of your time. This was actually really insightful. I learned a lot. I hope the people watching learned a lot. Matt, you want to add anything else to this?
I'm good. I had a great time. There's a lot learned here. So it was a really good
Stuff.
Whiskey Thursday. So
And
Grant,
Grant,
stick
if
around.
anybody wants to find you, where can they find you? Just Facebook, Grant. I know your last name is hard to spell.
Sorry, it's in the title.
Yeah.
It's in the title. Right. Okay.
If it's in the title, just click it or find a comment of mine. Just click my name. I don't do a lot on other social medias. I'm a minimalist. So I run everything through Facebook. I have a website where you can find some free trainings. If you just type in my name.com, granteilertson.com, you can find some more free stuff there, but hang out with me on Facebook. I don't do things anywhere else.
Awesome. Good stuff. Grant, thank you so much. Everybody that's watching, thanks so much for sticking around. And that is it. Have an awesome night. Grant, stick around here and go ahead and end this. If I can find the link.